All right, good morning, Josh and Alana. So what really needs to happen here is you guys need to reassess your test on multiplying and dividing fractions and mixed numbers. So you guys did pretty well in the first part of the test, and I think probably pretty okay through this part here, but I thought I'd just do a little review anyway, just to make sure it's still stuck in there. And then the second part of this will be the part that you really struggled on. Okay, so when we are multiplying fractions, we're just going to multiply straight across the top and straight across the bottom. And so this one's easy enough. 1 times 3 is 3. 2 times 5 is 10. And there it is, all done. Easy. Okay, so we could do the same trick with this one right here. We could do 3 times 5 is 15. That's easy enough. Over 10 times 9 is 90. But then we're looking at 15 and 90 saying, you know, I bet there's a number that goes into both of these. And in fact, there actually is a number that goes into both of these. And it turns out that that number is really 15. But, nope, sorry, I think I lied to you. I think it's 5, actually. So let's divide both top and bottom by 5. And 15 divided by 5 is 3. And 90 divided by 5 is 16. So it's 3/16. And so that's the correct answer right there, 3/16. But so you can see here that I was looking at 15 and 90, and I was like, what number actually is the biggest one that goes into both of those? And fortunately, they ended in a 5 and a 0, so 5 was pretty much an easy choice here, though I did think for a moment it was 15. But I want to show you a little bit of trickery here. Change my pen color to red. So I want you to look at these two numbers on the diagonal right here. So we got a 3 here and a 9 here. And you ask yourself, is there a number that goes into both 3 and 9? And the answer, of course, is, well, yeah, of course there is. 3 goes into 3. 3 goes into 9. So we can do a little cross-canceling or cross-reducing as though this were 3 over 9 right here. So, again, we're going to do, so what number goes into both 3 and 9? It's 3. And so 3 goes into 3 how many times? Well, it goes in 1 time. And how many times does 3 go into 9? Well, it goes in 3 times. And then we look at the other numbers on the diagonal. We got 5 and 10. Is there a number that goes into both 5 and 10? Of course there is. It's 5. How many times 5 go into 5? Once. How many times 5 go into 10? Twice. Now we multiply. Top times top, 1. Bottom times bottom, 6. Done. So here, here you only have to reduce once, but you got to figure out what number goes into 15 and 90. Here you just got to figure out what number goes into 3 and 9, or 5 and 10. Much smaller numbers, much easier to think about. Either way is fine. I wouldn't count this part out. Okay, so let's do that same concept right here on this problem. So you get a chance to do it several times here, so we're actually going to use back to the red pen here. So let's look at the numbers again. So let's take a look at 3 and 6. Is there a number that goes into both 3 and 6? Yeah, 3 goes into both 3 and 6. So it goes in 1 time there, 2 times here. And let's look at 2 and 8. Is there a number that goes into both 2 and 8? Well, yeah. 2 goes into 2 once. 2 goes into 8 4 times. And then we look one more time. There's a 4 here. There's a 4 down here. Is there a number that goes into both 4 and 4? Well, yeah. 4 goes into 4 once. And 4 goes into 4 once. And now we go straight across. 1 times 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 1 times 9 is 9. And we're all done. And again, of course, you could have done this the other way too. 3 times 1 is 3 times 8 is 24. And 4 times 6 is 24. Times 9 is 180. And 36 is 216. Is that right? 216. Let me think about that again. 4 times 6 is 24. 9 times 20 is 180. And 36 is 216. Yep, good. And then you got to figure out a number that goes into 24 and 216. And man, that's just a pain. But it looks like apparently it's just 24. 24 goes into both of those to make 1/9. So again, you could do it this way or this way with a crossing out, which I like. Okay, so 2/3 times 24. Whenever we see a whole number, we just put it over 1, and then we do the little cross out trick. So is there a number that goes into both 3 and 24? The answer is yes. That number, of course, is 3. and 3 goes into 24 8 times. 3 goes into 3 1 time, and then we multiply straight across. 2 times 8 is 16, and 1 times 1 is 1, so it's 16 over 1, or just 16, and we are done with that problem. So I'm kind of going through a little quickly here, so if you need to stop and pause the video and go back, by all means, please do that. Okay, so let's get rid of that because I'll need that in a minute. Okay, so now we have a mixed number times a fraction. So what we know is we need to change the mixed number into an improper fraction first. So multiply the bottom, or the denominator, by the whole number. So 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 makes 7 over 3. I heard once that somebody called this the check mark approach. So 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 makes 7. Check mark. Times 3/8. And then again, we can do our little cross-out trick, right? 3 and 3 here. So 3 goes into 3 once. 3 goes into 3 once. So we cross these guys out and make 1s out of them. And then top times top. Bottom times bottom. And we're done. All right. Same kind of trick right here. This, of course, is 10 over 1. So we do the little check mark. 4 times 5 is 20, plus 2 makes 22. Over 5 times 10 over 1. And we look here and we see the 5 and the 10. Is there a number that goes into both 5 and 10? The answer is yes. 5 goes into 10 twice. 5 goes into 5 once. Multiply straight across the top. 22 times 2 is 44 over 1, or just 44. Okay, and we got n, which is 2 mixed numbers. So we're going to change them both into fractions using the check mark method. So 3 times 8 is 24, plus 3 is 27 over 8. And these are getting to be kind of big numbers already, so you're going to want to do this little trick that I have here. 1 times 9 is 9, plus 7 makes 16 over 9. 27 times 16 is a big number. 8 times 9 is 72, another kind of big number. So again, let's try to make our lives easier. Is there a number that goes into both 8 and 16? Yeah, 8 does. 8 goes into 8 once. 8 goes into 16 twice. Is there a number that goes into 9 and 27? Yeah, 9 does. 9 goes into 9 once. 9 goes into 27 3 times. And then top times top, bottom times bottom. 3 times 2 is 6. So easy, even a caveman could do it. Okay, all done with that. Jump over to our last few problems here. All right, so here we have 3 things being multiplied together. And I'm going to show you a little trick here. So while they give you the problem as 8 times this times a quarter, we can rearrange the order of these if we want to, right? Because just think about this. 2 times 3 is 6. 3 times 2 is also 6. So it doesn't matter what order we multiply in, right? It's called the commutative property of multiplication. We don't need to think about that right now. So we're just going to switch these two guys here. So we got 8 times 1/4 times, I'm going to do the little check mark thing here while we're doing it. So 7 times 6 is 42, plus 5 makes 47 over 6. Okay, so let's check this out right here though. 8 over 1 times 1 over 4, we're basically doing 1/4 of 8, which is 2. And again, we can get that because we can see that 4 goes into 4 once, 4 goes into 8 twice. 2 times 1 is 2. So now we got 2 times 47 over 6. And again, we do our little canceling tricks. Is there a number that goes into 2 and 6? Well, of course, the answer is 2 does. Goes in there 3 times. 2 goes into 2 1 time. Multiply straight across, and we get 47 over 3. And we are done. Okay. The reciprocal of 1.5, well, reciprocal means to flip the fraction upside down, but this isn't a fraction, it's a mixed number. So again, we need to change it into a fraction. So 1 times 2 is 2, plus 1 makes 3, so it's 3 halves. So now we want to flip that over, so 2 over 3. And we are done with that. Okay, so the reason that we were doing reciprocals is because that's the way we divide. So when we divide fractions, we flip the second fraction over. So we got 4/5 times 3 over 1, right? Change that into multiplication and flip that one. And then again, we look at the numbers on the diagonal. We got 4 and 1. There's no number that goes into both of those except for 1. 5 and 3, same thing. So there's not much to do here. So 4 times 3 is 12. 5 times 1 is 5. And we got 12/5, which we know is an improper fraction because the numerator is bigger than the denominator. So we just divide 5 into 12. And that goes 2 times because 5 times 2 is 10, and that's close to 12. And in fact, we need 2 more to get to the 12. So it's 2 2/5. All right, 2 more problems to go. All right, so 3 6/5 divided by 4, this of course is 4 over 1. So we're going to check mark and turn it into an improper. So 3 times 6 is 18, plus 5 is 23 over 6, times, flip that guy over, 1 over 4. And again, nothing to cancel here. So we go straight across, top times top, 23, bottom times bottom, 24. And we're done. Last problem. So we got 11 divided by 5.5. So we got 11 over 1 divided by, check mark it, 5 times 2 is 10, plus 1 is 11 over 2. You can see how this is going to arrange right here nicely. So we flip this, or change that to multiply, and flip this. So we got 11 over 1 times 2 over 11. Well, the 11 certainly cancel off because 11 goes into both of those and leaves 1 for both. So 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 1 is 1. 2 over 1 is just 2. So there it is. There's your quick review and going over of the problems on your multiplication and division test. And so hopefully this worked out well for you. And we'll have the retest on, or the reassessment on Friday. So please make sure you watch the video and do the practice test again. I'll post it on Classroom. Thanks. See you Friday. Be safe.